Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This is David Gomez, and I have another interview for the 31 by 31 Latino Speaker Bureau Hispanic Heritage Month. It's a mouthful. So we're putting these interviews together, and we're getting the opportunity to talk to our speakers. And today I have the privilege of introducing Ana Larrea-Albert. Ana, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, David. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Ana is the founder and president of Latina Leadership Collective, and she's also an author. And we're gonna go a little bit into all of that, but just wanted to start it off with just getting a little perspective and you know, to see what helps you pursue your goals. And I find that it's very helpful if you start with your own personal story.
Thank you very much. This is a very good question that requires a little bit of introspection, and I've been able to try to find that common thread or that just theme across my story. So I was born and raised in Quito, Ecuador. Okay. By 6th grade, I proclaimed that I wanted to be Ecuador's president. So no lack of ambition on this one.
Right.
And I started studying international relations in Ecuador. And even though when we moved here to Florida, I ended up finishing my university studies with a bachelor's in marketing, that international bug never left me. So I ended up working for multinational companies and really exposing myself to a global scale. So I sold internationally. I led marketing campaigns in regions across the world. I trained teams in Finland, in France, in Italy, here in the US on the customer experience program that I built from the ground up. I managed people in the Americas, in Europe, and in Asia. I even presented some academic research in Sweden. So all that exposure really, I believe, has given me has allowed me to develop this global cultural fluency, right? That goes beyond speaking 3 languages. It goes beyond boundaries or countries of origin. So I'm able to connect with people at a more empathetic level, I believe. I understand something that goes beyond just the demographics. And that has allowed me to really be successful in my business career, but also I've been able to translate that into my service to the community, which is focused on Latinas, Latina professionals specifically.
Wow, that's a very impressive trajectory.
Thank you.
And you know, that's really interesting that from such an early age you had that that, I don't know if it's a gene, but that desire to succeed.
Absolutely. It has given me the fuel I needed to surpass challenges that we all face. Let's be honest. And it's been they've become part of my story, my lived-in experience as well as a Latina professional. All that I use to, in turn, after learning all of these lessons, to help other Latinas succeed.
And that brings me to my next question. So as I was introducing you, I was mentioning that you are the founder for Latina Leadership Collective. And could you tell us a little bit of how that came about, and if you wouldn't mind sharing your why?
Oh, perfect question. I think Latina Leadership Collective and what I do with mentoring and coaching, even writing the book, speaking, workshops, is a great way of integrating both my passion and my purpose. So after going through, basically it came about due to my lived experiences as a Latina professional and all these challenges that I mentioned. For instance, at some point in my career, I realized that I was being hired to supervise a white male who was earning 35% more than me.
Wow.
So, there are things that you don't necessarily need to know why happened, but you want to do something about it. And that's my bias towards action. I just have to do what's in my control towards making a situation better. So the Latina Leadership Collective, originally it was under NENANI, but it started from there. So what am I good at? I'm good at marketing. I'm good at PR. So why don't I take my skills and do this pro bono PR campaign for the Latina professionals out there? And I started interviewing Latinas all over the country, different industries, disciplines, different age levels, success levels, across political lines. And I wanted just to show the world, kind of have this roster, this pool of candidates that are educated, ambitious, competent, and ready to step into leadership roles. So that's how it started. I really just wanted to show the world who we were, right? And it evolved into, okay, now I'm raising awareness, that's good, but how can I really affect change? How can I make a difference? And that's when I decided to get certified as an executive leadership coach, and actually help, not necessarily with the technical skills, because we're very educated. So we're good at what we know, let's say.
Right. Yeah.
But it's the soft skills, I wish there was a better word for that, like leadership skills, like personal branding, like networking, that are the keys to success, right? So I love the analogy of diversity and inclusion, opening the doors to the party. But once we get to the party, we need to have the right moves when we get to the dance floor, right? So that's what I'm trying to make sure that we do as a community.
Right. And it's interesting that they're called soft skills, you know?
They're absolutely crucial, indispensable skills, we should call them.
Yeah. So not only are you focused on Latina executives, but you go a little further with what you're sharing. You're the author of a book, and to me that's a special thing. Having someone who also reaches children, you know, and that, to me, that skill set, you have to have a very unique mind where you can break things into something that is simple enough for them to grasp.
Yes. Well, I'm going to, if you don't mind, just show.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the first book. Actually, it's the Zizi Can, Zizi Puede book series, right? It's bilingual, so I wanted to make sure that we made that bridge between the two languages. And I have the protagonist here, as I mentioned, who's a little bit making a fuss, but
Hey,
it's another example of integrating my passion and purpose.
right.
Passionate about writing, passionate about dogs, especially this one. Passionate about kids, children, absolutely love it. I'm the one that goes into the family reunion and all the kids just flock over, and then I leave the adults because we're going to go play and actually have fun. And the purpose, to me, the basic premise of the books, of each of the books, is just encouraging our Latinitas, right? Our youngest Latinas. Like you said, I was focused on executives. I was doing mentoring to high school, middle school, university students, Latinas. How do I reach them from the get-go, right? That's what I wanted to do. How do I help set the right mind frame so it's not a change of paradigms later on in our life, but rather we come off with the right meta programming.
Right.
And this was just an idea. You do what you can with what you have. So this was my way of sharing not only the platform, let's say, for other Latinas, because I have a mentor for Zizi. So Zizi has a problem. She's worried. She wants to do something. And I put her in touch, or she starts talking to a Latina. right? That's done something that excelled. She has excelled in whatever social cause or social content the book is about. And I have a way to uplift the profile of that Latina, right? So I am, plus the illustrator, every illustrator for all the books is going to be a Latina, very different one for each of the books. So I'm trying to think, how do I reach as far as I can in terms of helping and empowering with my one little example, right? Another thing, because I'm in women empowerment, I need to talk the talk and walk the walk. So all the traits associated with the book are female, are women. So the illustrator, the mentor, the designer, owner of the publishing company, the editor. So I've tried to really live what I say my passion is.
That's very empowering, because it's the whole breadth of the production of this story.
Yeah.
And so can you help us just know how you manage your time, and what are your discipline, I guess, principles, because you have a very busy schedule. So and I know that a lot of our audience members have written some pieces, or have published a few things, but those that are interested in doing so, what advice will you give them?
There's two sides of it. The very first one, and that I've been thinking about, I am not, to be honest, I'm not as busy as I used to be. Although I will start getting busy again because I go back to school in September.
Okay.
So that'll take some more of my time. But back when it was back to back, all of these things, well over a full-time job, traveling internationally, plus my almost 18-year-old boy, husband, and this one. So the most important thing that I learned was to try to, again, the concept of integration. I think the concept of balance, work-life balance, is flawed, because one is always going to be, life is, you can't keep something steady, and one is always going to suffer.
Right.
So my goal has always been to create my concept is this Venn diagram, very fluid, very flexible, where the sweet spot is in the center. How do you bring your passions, your interests, your responsibilities, your family, everything into the center? So for instance, when we had an Earth Day, a couple of Earth Day events where I brought the book to show to the kids, my husband came, my son came, Zizi came, and we spent the day together. So it was something that I needed to do, but I brought everybody in. Or when I've gone speaking on speaking engagements, for instance, I took my son to NASA when I spoke there, and we did a tour, actually a behind the scenes tour at NASA with him, and went to the Kennedy Space Center. So it was something that I wanted to do very much. It was a passion that an interest, something also that was professionally very valuable. But why not bring him along? Like, try to integrate these things, right? And then when you need to work on something on your own, it's a matter of chunking time or blocking time. I like the word chunk. Just you say Saturdays from 10 to 12, it's mama's time. I'm going. It's very important for ourselves to say, okay, this is the time that I need to dedicate to writing the second book. I'm on the second book. I was actually just finishing up before we started. I have to give myself some time, right, to do these things. And once the time's up, then it's all family, then it's all this. And going back to the integration of passion and purpose, I looked forward to doing the workshops. I looked forward to speaking at the universities and mentoring the Latina students after my really hard day of work. So my hobby was doing that, right? That's what filled me with passion and just excited. It fulfilled me
Right.
so much. So it wasn't that I had to do it, but it was that I got to do it. I had that mentality. I am so blessed that I have the opportunity to share this. And more than anything for me, is just hearing feedback from them and seeing them, you know, and others just grow and feel empowered to do what they want to do. That has been a bit of it's tricky, of course. There's no magic sauce or perfect ingredient list, but that's how I've managed to create that flexibility. You can't be too rigid with anything. You just have to allow it and forgive yourself when you miss something. Just make sure that you are very straight in your priorities.
So that's a very interesting advice, and I think it's very effective. I think a lot of people see, you know, like things overlap instead of they integrate. And I think that what you shared there is it's right on point.
Thank you.
So, okay, so let me ask you something that we're asking all of our members.
Okay.
How do you keep your Hispanic heritage alive?
Oh my goodness. Well, what I do as a passion is Hispanic related. So it's actually something that I get to live every day by reaching out to Latina professionals and hearing their story. So it's a way, when I hear their stories and their successes, it fills my Hispanic pride bucket, right? So it living through vicariously through all these amazing women that I meet helps me realize how proud we are as a community and how amazing our future is. Of course, I try to also keep the Ecuadorian side going, and I have my parents who live very close, so there is some fritada that we eat once in a while. So we try to keep some things, including, you know, trying to get my son also very involved as a bicultural child. But it's really being surrounded and being amazed by the women, the Hispanic women that I get to meet and learn from.
Is there a large community of people from Ecuador now?
In Wellington? Yeah. I'm in Wellington, Florida. This is equestrian country,
Oh, okay.
horse country, they call it. No. I'm not sure I've met an Ecuadorian here in Wellington. That's why, for instance, I was so excited when I found Alpha 5 years ago. Alpha Miami, the Miami chapter, that took me 2 hours to get there, 1.5, 2 hours to get there. And I became part of the board, the VP of marketing for the chapter. And I would drive after, you can't imagine the traffic to get there after work, to make it to the events, to the board meetings. But it was just, you know, I just felt, even as a Latino, not necessarily as you know, country of origin level, but sharing Spanish and sharing music and sharing all this hope of all of us really made it something worth the drive.
Well, now let me go with my last question. So tell us about what you're doing now. Any type of projects or what's on the horizon?
Yes. So I mentioned that I went back to school. So this existential crossroads that we talked about earlier, that a lot of us are going through now in this situation, I started it about a year ago already, when I decided to resign from this multinational company where I was an executive in customer experience, marketing and customer experience. At the time of my resignation, I was the youngest, the only Latina, only person born in the Americas, one of 2 women in the entire executive management team.
Wow.
But I decided, I don't know if I decided, to tell you the truth, it was a pull so strong towards what was making me happy. Mm-hmm. It was this fulfillment that I was feeling with all of the work that I was doing with the Latina Leadership Collective. It just felt that I needed to give myself a shot at living a life of service, of doing this for a living. So that's when I decided to apply for, and I got accepted to the a master in public administration at Harvard. Mm-hmm. And what I'm going to do this semester that I'm very excited about is more research. So I've done some academic research in the past. I have a published award-winning research, actually, academic, and I've presented some around the country in universities, but I want to do more research about Latina leadership. So I have this setup that I want to really focus on what's the state of Latina professionals in the US and what do we need to do to get to the next level, to become the power force, that to be reckoned with, that we're bound to become. So I'm going to be doing research, and I'm going to keep amazing myself with the wonderful professional Latinas that I'll be interviewing for the Latina Leadership Collective. I got the second book coming up, and just, being gentle with myself, being kind to myself, thinking I don't have the answers. I have no idea what the world is going to look like in a year and 2 years. The whole 5-year, 10-year plan thing is just very far away, because right now it's frustrating and uncomfortable to not know, but it's okay. We can all be okay. We're all going to be okay. And just opening doors, letting things happen, doing my best to serve and the best of my ability. And then we'll see where life takes me, but always focusing on my Latina professionals.
Well, that sounds really exciting. I actually like to see some of that research.
Yeah, absolutely. The minute it's published, I will send it over, and I'm sure I'll be speaking about it right away.
Well, just want to wish it my best. I know that sometimes things are so big that they can be overwhelming, but you have the right why. You're going for something that will help so many people. So yeah, you have my best wishes.
All right, thank you, David. Thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
Well, also want to thank you for taking your time and sharing with us your story. I know that a lot of our members will find you very inspiring, because a lot of us are going through that existential moment right now, especially this year.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad I could help, David.
All right. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.
You do too, David.